On the news tonight, court dismisses the FCC's fraud suit against former Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha. President Bola Tinubu declares state of emergency on food security, orders release of grains and fertilizers. And Senate decries bad state of Benin Auchi-Lokoja Road linking southeast and south-south states. Glad to have you join us on News Now. I am Mary Kanu. We begin the news with legal matters. A Federal Capital Territory High Court has dismissed the case against former Governor of Imo State, Senator Rochas Okorocha, by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The court described the EFCC's charges of fraud and abuse of office as an abuse of judicial process. The presiding judge, Justice Yusuf Halilu, premised his judgment on the fact that the EFCC had filed a similar charge against the former Imo State governor at the Federal High Court, which case was decided upon in favor of the former governor in December last year. The EFCC had on January 24, 2022, filed a 17-count criminal charge bordering on diversion of public funds and properties to the tune of 2.9 billion naira against the senator. And President Bola Tinubu has declared a state of emergency on food security. The special advisor to the president on special duties, communication and strategy, Dele Alake, made the disclosure to State House correspondents after a meeting the president had with stakeholders on agriculture and food production value chain. He said the president is not unmindful of the rising cost of food and how it affects Nigerians. This next report has more details. Food prices have been on the rise across Nigeria in recent years. The country's annual inflation rate rose to 22.41% in May from 22.22% in the previous month, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. The food inflation rate also quickened to 24.82% in May from 24.61% in April. This increase has been the case for Nigeria for the longest time, with the country suffering from acute food inflation and shortage due to many reasons.
The worst food crisis we have had in a decade. So the challenge now is that in many of these African countries, which include Burkina Faso, Nigeria, Niger, Mali, Chad, countries around the Sahel, we're facing other problems, including climate change, including droughts, of course, droughts and floods and all of that are the direct impacts of climate change. And to worsen all of that, we're facing internal social crisis, insurgencies that are displacing rural communities from their farmlands. So when people are disinherited from their farmland and they have no access to their farms, basically, there's going to be a food shortage.
The situation was compounded with the announcement of the removal of fuel subsidy by President Bola Tinubu on May 29, leaving many Nigerians hungry and distraught. To remedy the dilemma, the special advisor to the president on special duties, communications and strategy in a meeting with State House correspondents said the president met with stakeholders in agriculture and food production value chain, declaring a state of emergency on food security.
The president is not unmindful of the rising cost of food and how it affects the citizens. While availability is not a problem, affordability has been a major issue to many Nigerians in all parts of the country. This has led to a significant drop in demand, thereby undermining the viability of the entire agriculture and food value chain. Accordingly, and in line with this administration's position on ensuring that the most vulnerable are supported, the president has declared with immediate effect the following actions. 1, a state of emergency on food security. 2, that all matters pertaining to food and water availability and affordability as essential livelihood items be included within the purview of the National Security Council.
Disclosing the details of the presidential intervention on food security, food pricing, and sustainability to journalists, Alake said an action plan had been activated with an aim to ease the burdens of Nigerians.
Most emergencies, there are immediate, medium, and long-term interventions and solutions. In the immediate term, this government intends to deploy some savings from the fuel subsidy removal into the agricultural sector, focusing on revamping the agri sector. We will immediately release fertilizers and grains to farmers and households to mitigate the effects of the subsidy removal.
Agriculture accounts for about 35.21% of employment in Nigeria as at 2021, and the Tinubu administration says one of the major positive outcomes of the interventions is the massive boost in employment and job creation. Mary Kanu, TV360, Nigeria. Still in the presidency, President Bola Tinubu has assured women in the country that his government is dedicated to freeing Nigeria from the vested interests that have stunted the country's growth. The president said this at the State House when he received the audience of the All Progressives Congress women leaders from the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory led by the APC National Women Leader, Betta Edu. Tinubu assured the women that his administration will place priority on matters relating to industrialization, healthcare and security. More details in this next report.
In a little over 40 days since the swearing-in, President Bola Tinubu has received various groups at the presidential villa to congratulate him on his emergence as president. The latest group to pay the president a visit is the All Progressives Congress APC women leaders in the 36 states and Federal Capital Territory. The APC National Woman Leader, Betta Edu, who announced the group's intention, also praised the president for the several good policies of his administration and congratulated him on his election as the chairman of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS.
The last 45 days has been one of the best in the history of our nation. You have done what no other could do. Hours after taking the oath of office, it's only a Jagaban of Africa. It's only for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that will say fuel subsidy is over.
Appreciating the women leaders' visit, President Tinubu praised them for their support during the campaigns and elections, saying they all deserve awards for their efforts.
You all deserve gold medals. You work so hard politically, despite so many hurdles on our way. You overcame many problems. Is it fuel scarcity or naira confiscation? Tell the story. Your children will get more rewards than what you have.
The president also gave assurances that his administration was already implementing many policies and programs that would positively impact the citizens.
The question of security is paramount in my mind. We're back to discuss that over and over again because women are the high victim of insecurity anywhere in the world, particularly in Nigeria. We have to pay attention to that. Medicare is another serious matter that we will pay attention to. And medical industrialization and availability to all of you, your children, and your relations is extremely important.
Reaffirming his administration's open-door policy, President Tinubu explained that the unity of the country is essential and central to his mind and advised the women leaders to be accommodating to members of opposition parties who he claimed are now willing to come on board. Tamilore Akinkolia, TV360 Nigeria.
The Imo State Governor Hope Uzodimma has declared that the responsibility of ending the sit-at-home order in the Southeast region extends beyond the governors of the respective states. Uzodimma said this after meeting with President Bola Tinubu to seek an appointment for Southeast leaders and Ohanaeze Ndigbo to meet the president over worsening insecurity in the region. While acknowledging the challenges faced by the Southeast region, Uzodimma believes that addressing the root causes of insecurity and implementing robust security measures will pave the way for economic growth and national unity. There are more details in this next report. The worrisome rising level of insecurity in the southeastern part of Nigeria has received the attention of leaders from the zone as they have sent a Save Our Soul SOS message to President Bola Tinubu. The Southeast leaders who had met earlier in the week discussed and identified issues of concern in the region with a decision to seek the president's help. The zonal leaders sent an emissary in the person of the Imo State Governor, Senator Hope Uzodimma, to the president, requesting an urgent meeting to discuss issues surrounding security and development of the region.
Under the current administration of President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, that is barely 60 days old, we are also coming to renew the request and to also draw his attention to some peculiarities in the Southeast that will require federal government attention.
One of the issues plaguing the Southeast is the sit-at-home order imposed on the people by non-state actors. This, the zonal leaders believe, is detrimental to the nation's progress and needs the federal government's intervention.
People are afraid because of what they have seen in the past. So, and nobody wants to die, neither me nor anybody. So that is why the moment federal government comes in to step up very high security measures to manage the situation, the sense of security will come back to the citizenry and they will be able to go about their businesses.
In 2022, while Nigeria witnessed its worst flooding since the 2012 floods, the southeast was heavily affected due to the overflow of some rivers, and this is about to be a repeat situation, one which Uzodimma says remedying might be beyond the capabilities of state governments.
We met only a few days ago with the NIMET and NEMA, and we discussed it. Even at the level of National Economic Council, flooding has been discussed severally. All the rivers in the southeastern part of the country are highly silted up to the extent that those rivers we used to have a draft of -3 meters datum to 5 meters datum are almost dry, giving way for the water to find where it will settle. In the process, the river has comes out to the town. So, and then the water must have a place to reside. So it is going to be a holistic thing. Some of the preliminary survey we carried out revealed that a huge amount of money will be required. And actually the expenditure may be bigger than what the state can afford. Because I'm tired of every time there is rainy season, I start looking for camp where I will camp my people as refugees.
Uzodimma also underscored the importance of granting governors more autonomy to efficiently fulfill their duties and responsibilities in serving the people. Mary Kanu, TV360, Nigeria. To security matters now, the Lagos State Police Command Ikeja has paraded 27 suspects of their alleged involvement in cultism, murder, pipelines vandalism and armed robbery in the state. Speaking with journalists at the press briefing, the police public relations officer Benjamin Hundayin reiterated the stance of the Commissioner of Police in Lagos to clamp down on criminality in the state. Among the 27 suspects, 26 were male and 1 female were all arrested for different criminal activities in the state.
We have a total of 26 suspects today. 27 suspects. 26 of them are males, while there is 1 female. And all of these suspects are involved in different crimes, though violent crimes, chief of which is cultism. I remember I said it even during the last parade of suspects that cultism is our biggest challenge in Lagos State now, and is not being helped by the spread of illicit drugs. That has been helping or making the problem of cultism worse in the state. So chief of which, like I said, is cultism. We also have some suspects for armed robbery. We have some for murder. And we have one suspect here for pipeline vandalism. Interestingly, Ramon has always escaped arrest. He has been into this business for approximately 10 years now. He would come to Lagos, do this, and run out of Lagos. But we've been able to catch up with him. He has been arrested, and we are getting close to arresting other of his gang members. And all of these arrests were made in different parts of Lagos State. We have Mushin, Okokomaiko, Iba, Agege, Idimu, and Apapa. And we recovered some arms and ammunition, a total of 7 locally made pistols, 3 live ammunition, 1 knife, and 1 axe. Other recoveries, we've recovered some SIM cards from these suspects, 2 motorcycles, which they sometimes use when they are going out to perpetrate their crimes, 1 unregistered Toyota Corolla, which is also there for you to see, different charms, and 1 beret with insignia of cultism boldly on it.
Well, let's take a break now, but still to come, England women's relay team upgraded to Commonwealth gold after Nigeria doping violation. Details of the story in a moment. To stay with us.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places, the Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On Digi 360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians are saying in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
Digi 360, dissecting the issues.
Corruption not in my country.
Hello? Yeah, I found your wallet in front of a supermarket. Meet me at Apple Junction. Yes, I'll be waiting for you.
Now we find out. 2 of us.
Thank you very much, officer. You know, it's surprising that men like you still exist in the police force.
Yes, oh, yes.
This is just a token of my appreciation.
Oh, no. You don't need to do this. We're only doing our job.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Now I know police is really my friend.
Yes.
Friend. Hey.
Which came up with this one? I don't understand.
You know your problem. You are greedy. I'm a policeman who is doing his job. All forms of corruption in the force. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Thank you for staying with us. A recap now of our top stories. A Federal Capital Territory High Court has dismissed the case against former Governor of Imo State, Senator Rochas Okorocha, by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The court described the EFCC's charges of fraud and abuse of office as an abuse of judicial process. The EFCC had on January 24, 2022, filed a 17-count criminal charge bordering on diversion of public funds and properties to the tune of 2.9 billion naira against the senator. We also told you that President Bola Tinubu has declared a state of emergency on food security. The special advisor to the President on Special Duties, Communications and Strategy made the disclosure to State House correspondents after a meeting the President had with stakeholders on agriculture and food production value chain. He said the President is not unmindful of the rising cost of food and how it affects Nigerians. Or just in case you missed any of our news bulletin or for more updates, you can catch us on IMX World TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. Welcome back. It's time for business news and stock market review with Folashade Ogurinde. Folashade, over to you.
Well, many thanks, Mary. In business news, the senators called on the federal government to mobilize contractors to site and further stem the deplorable state of Benin-Auchi-Lokoja Road. The call was contained in a motion sponsored by Adams Oshiomhole, who decried the bad state of the Benin-Auchi-Lokoja Road, linking the southeast and south-south state to the northern parts of the country. Other lawmakers expressed concerns at the slow pace of work on the road, adding that certain portions of the roads have failed over the years.
The deplorable state of the road has caused damage to properties and led to the death of numerous innocent commuters through accidents, including the one that Mr. President had to issue a condolence message. People who were wasted on that road, I believe, about 2 weeks ago. Also worried that the road passes through the sites of two major economic zones, two major cement factories in Okbela, in Edo State, which attracts heavy-duty vehicular movement 24 hours of the day throughout the year, making it very strategic route for the country's socio-economic development. Accordingly, our prayers that the Senate urge Mr. President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to grant approval for the augmentation of costs on the road through the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, pending the constitution of the Federal Executive Council for ratification.
That particular road we are talking about is also the gateway to Delta State. It's a gateway to the northern part of Nigeria, going through Delta, through Auchi, down to Lokoja. So I think that it is something this House has to look at dispassionately.
I have seen the long queue of trailers on that road and shown on television, not just the man-hour wasted, but the adverse effect on the economy of the nation. And the situation is so bad that it is not something that you call on FEMA. FEMA cannot handle this. So the main contract is something that we must encourage. Thank you for bringing this to the fore. And I hope the Committee on Legislative Compliance will definitely move into action to ensure that the motion we have just taken and the prayers here
approved by the Nigerian Senate are actually adhered to.
We'll take a break now and return with a review of the stock markets. To stay with us. The bears continued their dominance as market cap dipped to 9 billion naira, ending the market capitalization at the 34 trillion naira mark. Now, of course, all share index also suffered the same losses, ending at 0.29%. Now, in the aggregate, 118 NGX-listed equities participated in trading, ending with 13 gainers and 57 losers. The market breadth was also negative as 57 equities recorded losses against 13 gainers. Now, Flour Mills Nigeria came out last with an end-of-day price appreciation of 10% at 30 naira 60 kobo per share, followed by USC of Nigeria. On the winning side, National Salt Company led the gainers with 10% share price appreciation, closing at 28 naira 5 kobo per share, followed by John Holt. Now let's take a look at our market summary. We see that 600 million volumes of shares are valued at 8.8 billion naira, exchange hands in 9,554 deals. Now, away from the NGX, let's see how some of our select global stocks performed. It's a mixed trading day on the global scene. FTSE ended in the reds at 0.076%. Nikkei also followed the same suit, ending in the reds at 0.087%. However, it was a good day for Dow Jones, which ended in the greens at 0.32%. Now, that's it on the stock market review and business news. Back to you, Mary, for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Folashade, for the update. And now on the foreign scene, the COVID-19 pandemic, the cost of living crisis and the war in Ukraine have pushed a total of 165 million people into poverty since 2020. According to a report by the United Nations, the annual cost of lifting the 165 million newly poor people out of poverty would be over $14 billion. Meanwhile, the UN has called for a pause in debt repayments for developing countries. And in sports, England's 4x100 meters women's relay team have been upgraded to 2022 Commonwealth Games gold after original winners Nigeria were disqualified because of a doping violation. The English team finished second on home soil in the Midlands city of Birmingham last year. However, the Commonwealth Games Federation announced Nigeria sprinter Nzubechi Nwokocha had returned an adverse finding in a sample for 2 banned anabolic agents. Nwokocha's results from the 100 meters, 200 and sprint relay have been declared void, with the issue of her anti-doping infractions passed on to the Athletics Integrity Unit for any possible further sanctions. England's promotion to gold means they have retained the Commonwealth relay title, with Jamaica awarded second place and Australia taking bronze. Well, that's the size of a bulletin. Thank you for watching. I am Mary Kanu.